This Joe Mazzulla story might help shift your viewpoint on the Celtics head coach in the best way possible. When Joe Mazzulla took over as head coach of the Celtics, he was thrown in the deep end. Since then, Joe's helped the Celtics win Banner 18, and now anytime he gets the chance, he wants to help first-time head coaches who are in a similar position to the one he was in. And that latest opportunity presented itself with new Golden State Valkyries head coach Natalie Nakase. The WNBA is expanding, and the Valkyries are one of the newest teams in the league. Nakase was named the head coach of the Valkyries, and as she was looking for ways to prepare, she decided to reach out to Joe Mazzulla. Mazzulla wasn't just willing to help, he was eager to do so.
Joe Mazzulla doesn't necessarily like being too buddy-buddy with opposing NBA teams' head coaches, but that same rule doesn't necessarily apply to other leagues. And so when Natalie Nakase decided she wanted to connect with him, she reached out to Sam Cassell, who she had previously coached with on the Los Angeles Clippers. Sam was happy to facilitate the connection, and in the fall, she flew to Boston and shadowed Joe for a couple of days. From the jump, she was kind of struck by how generous he was with his time. He was like, "What do you want to know? What questions do you have for me?" And she was like, "Are you for real? Aren't you in season?" And he was like, "I got time."
That willingness to connect is what made this interaction so special. And while Joe reaching out with open arms might be enough to put a smile on Celtics fans' faces, that's not where the story ends.
She really enjoyed that experience. She just realized she wanted to come back and learn more. So she goes back to San Francisco. There's an expansion draft happening. Once she was done, she was like, "What do I do? Do I go on vacation now? How am I going to spend these next couple weeks?" And it suddenly became clear to her that she wanted to go back to Boston and continue shadowing Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics.
See, when Nakase came to Boston to shadow Joe Mazzulla for a little bit longer, she got to experience the true picture of just how much this organization means to him.
There was a lot of things that she learned from her time with Joe. One of the things that really stood out was it's not just about the X's and O's. She said, the film preparation was immaculate. But what really stood out to her is that every time he arrived at the arena, every time he got to TD Garden, the human side was a massive priority. One day she shadowed him for a shoot around. Afterwards, he said, "Okay, do you want to spend the day with me?" And she thought that they were going to go take a break, go get lunch. But they went right from shoot around, which is in Brighton, to TD Garden. She just followed him on his pregame ritual, and that includes walking around TD Garden and greeting every single person at the Garden. He cares about every single person in that arena. He talked to every single employee. And I was like, wow, my job as a head coach is not just to coach basketball. It's to really put an imprint on this community, on this arena, on everyone that works here, and everyone that sacrifices to make the game its best. As she was talking to players and coaches, she kind of realized that this is a place that they all really cherish. They're just like, this is the best organization that we've ever been a part of, whether it's to play for him or to work with him. They just said his ability to lead with a tough mindset, but also be thoughtful, was key.
Joe Mazzulla's job is to coach the 5 players on the court. At least that's what the definition would tell you. In reality, it's so much more to him. To hear how much he cares about every single part of the organization, down to the people working at TD Garden, should help Celtics fans appreciate just the type of person they have in the head coaching role. And for Natalie, heading into her first season as a head coach, getting to experience that is something she will cherish. Noah Dalzell of SB Nation spoke with Natalie and Joe about this experience, and the entire thing was incredible to hear about. Make sure to go read the full story written by Noah down below so you can get the full picture on Nakase's experience, seeing just how much being the coach of the Celtics means to Joe Mazzulla and all the other things she learned from him.